Bonjour everyone and welcome back to a new video. As promised, I'm taking you with me to Paris, where I recently spent a few days with a couple of my friends. But before I do that, I want to share something that I have been secretly working on and that I am so excited about. My family and I have lived here for 5 years now. As I'm recording this, I realize today is the exact date that we moved in 2019. And I continuously learn more about everything this beautiful region has to offer. And I have been so enchanted by all the beauty, the peacefulness, the villages, the vineyards, the pace of life, the food and everything. And I get a lot of questions from people asking if I do private brocante shopping tours or what are the best places to visit. And I have decided to organize the French country life experience in September of this year, where I invite you to my beautiful region and into my home here in Burgundy, where we'll spend 4 days together filled with joy, all the things we love, good food, and lots of laughter. I am going to take you on a brocante shopping trip one day, showing you all the best places and even some hidden places to find the real gems. We're going to explore the Beaune Farmers Market, where we'll get wonderful produce so we can make a lovely dinner. We'll also go to my favorite bakery in Beaune, where Marie is going to teach us how to bake real French baguettes. Harvest will be in full swing around that time, and I'm taking you on a tour through the vineyards in a French classic van. And we'll also visit the vineyards and the winery of a local winemaker, where we'll learn all about the harvest and how that's being done. It's a unique insight into what harvest here in Burgundy looks like. And of course, we'll be strolling through the cobbled streets of Beaune and quaint other little villages. And it wouldn't be a Marloes French country life experience if the days wouldn't be filled with real, fresh, home-cooked meals that we'll cook together. You'll be staying in a wonderful farmhouse with beautiful views of the countryside, and we'll also spend a lot of time in my home. I am so excited for this to be happening in September, and I would absolutely love you to be part of it. You will find all the details on my website. I have put a link in the description box. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I would truly love for you to join me and a little group for this unique experience here in the French countryside. So now let's get to Paris, where I have to say I could tell there were so many preparations for the Olympics that are happening here this summer. But I've also discovered a couple of new things about Paris and new places that I'd never been before. So I met up with a friend. She's French, but she doesn't live in France anymore. And she happened to be in Paris. And she was staying in this lovely little apartment in one of my favorite neighborhoods, Le Marais. I absolutely love discovering the inside of all these old Parisian buildings. They always have beautiful floor tiles and wooden stairways, and it just makes me so happy looking at all that beauty. This church tower I'd never seen before is the Tour Saint-Jacques, and it was part of a church that was built here in the 12th century, and this tower was built in the 15th century. And it is one of the 4 starting points in all of France of the Santiago de Compostela pilgrimage routes. The next thing I discovered about Paris is the BHV Marais, which I thought was just another department store like Printemps or Lafayette, but my friend said it was originally a hardware store, so that got me all excited about going in and checking out what kind of items they have. And they really had the most beautiful detailed doorknobs and handles, so it was such a discovery.
She's like,
Look,
oh,
no, but it's just, look.
Well, look, what? This is what you're looking for?
No, I'm renovating a home. I'm always intrigued by things, like special things. And yes, if you're wondering, my originally French friend and I speak English. She's lived in the US for a very long time, but also we met during a training that we both took, and that was in English. So we started off in English, and most of the time we speak English, even though we both speak French. If ever you come to Paris, please don't miss out on this lovely neighborhood, and also take a look around the area of the Centre Beaubourg, or sometimes called Centre Pompidou, which is always buzzing with life, street artists. It's really a wonderful area. Another hidden gem of Paris are the covered passages that you find throughout the city. These often have really quaint little boutiques, beautiful tiling and details. This is probably not one of the most beautiful ones, but if you come to Paris and you're planning your trip, Google for covered passages and you will find all the most beautiful ones. It would be really exciting to do a little tour around, walking through the city and going to look at all these beautiful passages. It actually gives me an idea. If you'd be interested in seeing these beautiful covered passages, let me know in a comment, and then next time I go to Paris, I will take a little tour of them and film it for you. I was staying at the 12th arrondissement in Paris, which is an arrondissement that I don't really know very well. It felt mostly residential, but really nice and quiet. And I was staying in a lovely apartment in what they call Haussmann style. Haussmann was an architect that did a lot of restructuring of Paris in the 19th century. A typical Haussmann-style apartment will be characterized by wooden floors, often herringbone or chevron, plaster moldings around the ceiling, marble fireplaces, French doors that this apartment didn't have, but they're so gorgeous. Really all the beautiful period details that you see when you scroll on Pinterest and search for a typical Parisian apartment is the Haussmann style. So after a very restful night, I went back into the city center to meet my friend Noël. I always like to walk in Paris rather than taking the metro. I only take those maybe in the evening when I just want to get back to the apartment or to my friend's house, because I feel when you walk through Paris, you see so much more of the beautiful city and all its details. I crossed what they call the Coulée Verte, which is a park that was built on a former railway line, and you can follow it to walk to the center of Paris. I asked on Instagram what my followers thought I should go do and see in Paris, and several people said I should go check out the concept store Merci.
No, no, espera, escríbelo tú. No, no lo he enseñado.
I really liked the vibe of this store. It has just about everything that I love. I especially loved all the light fixtures. I thought the prices were quite steep, but then I learned that they donate a big chunk of their profits to charity. These little books by Zoe de las Casas are really nice. She has wonderful books about interiors, about flower arrangements, and these what really are coloring books about specific places such as France, Paris, London, and she basically collects all the things that you can do, and there are drawings that you can color in. I thought that's really nice. I was also happy to find this book here, which is all about living sustainably and self-sufficient. And it was published originally in the 70s and then published again by someone that I stayed at actually in the Provence in his Airbnb. And I did a really cool video about his gorgeous home that I'll link up here.
Con la carne y todo, sí, sí. Pero a mí la barra de pan, luego es una baguette, ¿sabes? De pan con 3 meses.
I then walked to the place where I was supposed to meet my friend, and I stumbled upon the Marché des Enfants Rouges, which is the oldest food market in Paris, first opened in 1615. But today, it's more like a buzzing place where you can buy food, really fresh, good quality food. And mostly, I think people go to for lunch. That's what it looked like. And you can find all kinds of different foods. It felt like this really maze-like little market where everybody was out for lunch and just meeting up with friends. And I've never ever heard of this before, never seen it before. I really liked how lively it was and how buzzing it was with activity. I then took a little break and had a golden latte before I would meet my friend at the vegetarian Italian restaurant that I found that I was so excited about. I had the most delicious dish that I've been trying to make my own version of at home. I think I've succeeded, so I will be sharing that recipe sometime in an upcoming video. My friend and I then just kind of wandered around Paris and stumbled upon Patrick Roger, and my friend said, "This is the best chocolatier in all of Paris." So we went in and it looked like an art gallery. It was really fascinating.
Et les plus petites, c'est ça ou on peut choisir en fait?
Tout est comme ça, c'est déjà précomposé.
Ah, c'est précomposé.
Vous avez soit des petites boîtes ici avec des mélanges, soit c'est spécifique comme ça.
Ah, il y a aussi ces petits mélanges-là.
Oui.
Ah, mais regarde.
Une boîte avec 4 chocolats, c'est ça?
Oui.
Alors, il y a plus ticket de caisse.
Then I suggest that we go to Centre Beaubourg because when I passed here yesterday with my other friend, I saw they had a photography exhibition that I really wanted to go see. But then when we arrived, everything looked a little awkward, a little quiet. So we're trying to figure out what was wrong. And we then discovered they were on strike, so it wasn't open. So we just kept strolling around, and at the back of the Centre Beaubourg is a really well-known, famous fountain called La Fontaine Stravinsky that has beautiful sculptures which were created by Niki de Saint-Phal. And the funny thing is, I have seen this fountain, I don't know, maybe over 20 times in the past 30 years or so, and I have never ever seen any water coming out of any of these sculptures. I don't know, have you ever been here? Have you ever seen any water here? Let me know in a comment. We then passed a quite remarkable building called 59 Rue de Rivoli. This was formerly a bank, and when the bank went bankrupt, the building was just left like this, and in the end of the 90s, a couple of artists squatted the building and installed their atelier there and decided to live there. They were arrested by the police until an investor decided to buy the building and start a foundation to allow artists to live here and create their artwork here. And it is still like that today. It has an ever-changing exhibition. You can go in for free. And I just thought it was such a remarkable thing to find in the middle of Paris. And it's with these last images of 59 Rivoli that I'm leaving you and closing this vlog. It was a bit of a messy vlog. I basically just filmed while I was there just to meet my friends, so I didn't really have the intention to make this like a full undiscovered places of Paris tour, which would have been a really good idea. So as always, I thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in joining me in September, I have left all the information in the description box. I would be delighted to meet you here, and yeah, I will see you next week with a next video.